of how you start applying the Beatitudes
To your life, yeah.
to your life. And when you see it, when you start to feel it, it's like a call out of yourself that's really profound. I mean, this is not easy Christianity. It's like if you want to be generously forgiven by God, then His standard is that you need to be generously forgiving. And that's hard, and that's painful, and that hurts. And it doesn't, like, forgiving here doesn't always mean enabling people's behavior, and it's not that. Sometimes you have to say, no, these deeds aren't good. You know, I can choose to forgive you, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to pay for your rent this month just because you spent all of last month's money on booze. Like, no. Like, that's not what I mean here, but just that, like, you have to take what these are saying and start working on applying them to attitudes and patterns of thinking, and to be very, very, very suspect that we fall into the same traps that Jesus is preaching about. That somewhere, somehow, if we look at it right, you'll find that these people that Jesus talks to are you. And the battle lines run through your heart, and the battle lines run through my heart. If you hear it and it's like, oh, well, that was for those people long ago, you know, those who heard the sermon. It's trouble. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they will see God. I think this is a beatitude for our age. There is a lot of impurity when it comes to sexual morality. There's a lot of impurity when it comes to just mixed emotions, divided hearts, divided attention. You know, it's like, oh, we come to Mass or we're doing something, but it's easy to have distractions playing in your head, or to have your cell phone that buzzes and you check who it was just to make sure that it's not an emergency, and it buzzes and you check who it was. You know, we have divided hearts very easily. And we have to work very hard at, like Jesus says about Mary and Martha, Mary has chosen one thing, or only one thing is necessary. You know, what is the necessary thing? And if it is necessary, then do that, and do it freely. And like I said, I think this is a beatitude for our age. It's well worth pondering. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those who are persecuted. One of the things that we have to be careful of is evil doesn't like good. You'll see these bumper stickers that say coexist. Have you ever noticed how the people that are rioting don't like to be challenged in their beliefs? They tend to violently attack people that they consider to oppose them. And this happens in all kinds of directions. That's what this is talking about. Good and evil do not just coexist. The evil will try to kill the good. The evil will try to kill it, because the light exposes the darkness for what it is. Virtue exposes vice. And Jesus here is actually one of the most powerful phrases of the Sermon on the Mount, and this is so easy to miss. They are persecuted for the sake of Jesus. They are persecuted for proclaiming His name or His truth. Like that is the addition of Christ. Like, who of us would stand up and say, you know, you will be persecuted because of my name? Like, that's what Jesus is saying. He's putting Himself in the place of God. He's claiming that persecution of the truth is persecution of Him. He's putting Himself at the center of things in a way that no person could ever do unless He is actually who He says He is. Unless He actually is God. You see, it leaves open the one possibility that is almost impossible on the surface. That this is actually right, that Jesus actually is the Son of God, that He is the one, He is the standard. But it's not where the river flows. It's not where all the, like, it's not the bottom of the pool that everything is flowing toward. It's something very different. This is where He adds Himself. they persecute you because of me. And no, this is something that he doesn't say might not happen. He's not like, well, if they persecute you. He says, blessed are those who are persecuted. Jesus assumes that you will be persecuted for trying to proclaim the truth. And he says, do it anyway. He doesn't say that's a good reason to back off or to back down. So he proclaims these as beatitudes and blessings, not happiness. This isn't a recipe for worldly happiness. It's not going to work. You know, you want to live the American dream, happy, wealthy, wise, those kind of things. This isn't it. But what I think it's saying is everything that looks good on the surface about that isn't the key to joy in the human heart. But this is. This is a way of life and a way of living that does challenge you and that is difficult, but it is better. Oh, good. We have one little section left, and then we get to finish the first part. That's exactly where I was hoping to be. So be salt and light. Now, this is a little bit strange because we think of salt differently than they did. You know, like salt losing its saltiness doesn't make sense to us at all, because even if you have salt that's really old and it's turned into a rock in your cupboard, it still tastes like salt if you can hack it off. But in Israel, what we think it means, it's a difficult image, but what we think it means is like if salt gets mixed with too much dirt, like it would lose its saltiness. And you have to remember that their standards of cleanliness and the way that they stored things and kept things, they didn't have like nice airtight containers with plastic stoppers around them to keep all the humidity out. It wasn't a thing. So, be a lamp in the darkness for the world. Salt and light, these are two images that come from the time of the Exodus. They're two images that Jesus associates with fire. The light of the world, the idea is of like a city set on a hill, like a lamp. And this is great. This is one of the things in the countryside that's really, really exciting and we miss in Fargo. Fargo's really boring when it comes to night stuff. Is that when you're driving in the countryside toward a small town, the first time you can see the town lights is from like 10 miles away. And it kind of lights up the whole countryside, like you know where the town is and there's a little glow in the sky. When you're in the middle of Fargo, you don't see any of that. It's kind of boring when it comes to night sky stuff. But this is kind of what Jesus is saying. He's like saying, you should live in such a way that it's like taking the brightest thing you have and sticking it on the highest pole that you can so that it sheds its light as far as it possibly can. Like that's the lifestyle that he recommends. A city set on a hill, a lamp, something that gives light to a dwelling, that gives light to the house. Kind of like the pillar of fire, Exodus story, all of those themes kind of tie together. It could be a reference to the Feast of Tabernacles. One of the great Jewish feasts was called the Feast of Tabernacles. We believe that they had this giant, like 30-foot tall menorah that they would put in the temple and they'd light. It used olive oil. But they'd light this giant menorah in the temple, and the temple was on the highest hill in Jerusalem. So what you would see when you were going to the city is this giant burning lamp on top of the tallest mountain in the city, which means you could see it from miles and miles away. That's the image that Jesus is kind of after. Jesus connects the light with good works. He says, do good works so that those who see them will give glory to your Father in heaven. Sometimes people kind of, not Catholics as much, but there's this controversy around good works. And here Jesus is saying, do the good works so that people see them, that they bear evidence of the way that you live. The most convicting thing for people today isn't the words that you use, it's how you live. The thing that changed ancient Rome and the ancient empire wasn't that they had lots of good things to say. It was that they were willing to suffer and die for what they believed. And no pagan would do that. Because in paganism, it's not hard just to add another god. Like, okay, well, you have that god, I have this god. It's kind of all the same. We'll just worship that because we're trying to save our own skin. And the Christians are like, no, absolutely not. You can kill me, you can torture me, you can pull out my hair. Not going to do it. And they had never seen that before. They had never seen that kind of conviction. Here, Jesus also drops another bombshell. This is a great thing to end with. He says, your Father in heaven. Here he doesn't even say my Father, but your Father in heaven. He's bringing about a new relationship with God, that you and I are called to be children of God. Again, that sounds so easy to our Christian ears. Oh, like, yeah, we're called to be children of God. If you look at every other religion in the world, that isn't true for any of them. No one claims that we're children of God. We're completely unlike him. We're infinite, we're finite, he's infinite. We're temporal, he's eternal. We're kind of bad at this thing and we sin a lot, and God is completely perfect. God would have no reason to call us his children, except that he loves us. And so already, even in these little linguistic turns of a phrase, even by saying your Father in heaven, he's introduced a revolution. Like, these are words that are completely different. So Jesus has added himself. That's a great place to end. It's exciting to get into the Sermon on the Mount. There's a lot more to come. I'm sorry, you only got half of a Roman aqueduct. You should look for the whole Roman aqueduct, because the whole Roman aqueduct is actually part of a point that I make later in it, which is that Rome isn't built in a day. If you look at a Roman aqueduct, it's built with thousands of bricks. Habits in your life might take thousands of times to change. We still should do it. We still have to work at it. I think it's a great image. I'd love to have a picture of a Roman aqueduct for my wall, because